Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in. Ladies and gentlemen, Autobots and Decepticons, Dinobots of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. I never thought I'd be happy to see that big bozo.
Me, Jay. No, Bozo. Me, King.
Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000 nostalgia, and whatever else we want to. And this week we'll be beginning a new series on the Transformers movies. Yay!
Yeah, this is, kind of inevitable. We're doing a toy movie podcast, and this is one of the toy movie franchises.
We've mostly been doing Mattel properties, but now we're getting into some
Yeah.
Hasbro.
Yeah, this is our first ever Hasbro, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if their decision making as a company will be perceptively different from the Mattel franchises that we've covered. I think this movie kind of answers that question.
Yes, we'll get to that.
But yeah, Transformers, they're robots that turn into cars and cars that turn into robots. I mean, they're kind of one of the universal toy franchises in terms of I was thinking about this. I don't know that I ever owned Transformers, but I definitely played with Transformers.
Sure, yeah.
And I think that's kind of like...
With that, why don't you tell us your Transformers history?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I never owned Transformers. I might have owned like a McDonald's Transformer toy or something, but it was always something I was aware of, but never something I was interested in. I was not a big car person when it came to toys. I preferred like Legos or like the Brio train sets, anything where I could build something. So cars, I mean, I had some Hot Wheels, but that was never my like favorite type of toy to play with. The movies, sure. I've seen parts of some of them, of some of the Michael Bay movies, but I've never seen one of them all the way through. I weirdly read the novelization of the third one because I accidentally bought it, and then felt the need. It was like on Kindle, so I accidentally must have hit the buy button at some point. So I felt the need to read it since it's like I paid for it. I might as well read it. I do not recall anything from it.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm coming in very... I guess, yeah, I do have a lot of awareness of the series just through like pop culture osmosis. And then there's a great series that the YouTuber Lindsay Ellis did called The Whole Plate, where she goes through different concepts in like film studies. So like auteur theory or feminist film theory, and applies them to the Transformers movie as like a case study. More so about teaching you the theories than about teaching you about the Transformers movies. But yeah, that's sort of my history with Transformers. I've never been a fan, but I've definitely been aware. I would say less nostalgia even than like Barbie. Which, yeah, I guess I have a decent amount of nostalgia for Barbie, but...
Yeah, I think I've always been vaguely familiar with Transformers. I don't think I really understood what it was, or really... I didn't really get into Transformers until roughly by the time the first Michael Bay film came out. It was a thing that my friends or classmates, they had toys of that they would boast about, and I thought that was cool, and then I'd want them. And then the films were really where it's like, these robots that transform into cars, they seem pretty cool. But before then, I think maybe I'd catch like an episode of some random TV show every now and then. I think I watched like one episode of the 80s in Spanish one time, and then some other random time I went to Blockbuster and got something maybe Transformers related. I don't know if it was this film that we're talking about now, or if it was like some episode of the CGI show from the 90s. Those are old memories, but they had robot-esque people in them, so I'm gonna assume it was Transformers. But yeah, no, it wasn't until the Bay films that I really got into Transformers. Uh, Mainly for the films because they look cool there, and I think I got like a couple toys. But like the problem with Transformers in the 2000s after the Bay films is that they just were so complicated to transform that you needed a manual, and it was
Yeah.
never fun to play with. So I just didn't like them very much.
Yeah, I remember they're very, from what I remember playing with them, they're relatively fragile because there's so many moving parts. Like
Yeah, and they're not
not
like even
fragile, but
simple
like
simple
for a
moving
kid's toy.
parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so complicated for a kid's toy that it's like shocking that they even got greenlit to be kids'
I
toys.
mean,
I
I
could
have to
never make
assume
them
that,
transform.
yeah. I have to assume that they started out just very simple.
Yeah,
And
the
it's only
very
later
first
that they
wave were like very simple ones that were pretty much exactly how you saw them in the film or the show. Just like a couple twists and turns, and there you go. You have
yeah.
your vehicle. Um, I guess, yeah, we're talking about the original 1986 Transformers movie today.
Yeah.
That's a thing to point out. This is the film we're watching.
Yep, not the
But
Michael
before
Bay.
yeah, yeah, before we even talk about the film, let's get some context about Transformers as a toy line.
Yeah. So actually this is in the late 70s, the Japanese toy company Takara came up with an idea for transforming action figures. And so they released some under the name of Diaclones in 1980 and others called Microchange in 1983. And these are actually the ones that representatives from Hasbro saw. They were visiting Japan looking for toy ideas and went to like a toy convention type thing for like businesses. And they ended up teaming up with Takara to create the Transformers, re-releasing some of the toys that had already been released with under a new name with new branding.
Yeah, they just got any transforming toy they could find and made it Transformers. Like even if they were like different brands or different waves of series that have nothing to do with each other, it's like we'll just put a Transformer sticker on them and call it a day.
Which is why, because one of the things I'm aware of with Transformers is like some of them turn into vehicles, some of them turn into like items, like
Yeah,
boom
you got
boxes in this
you got
movie.
one that's a boombox. You got one that's a gun.
So yeah, so my understanding of it, and this is like very cursory Wikipedia research, but that the Diaclones were more of the like vehicle ones, and then the micro change were like, oh, they change into like items. Um and so they kind of both got brought in as the under this Transformers label.
Yeah, some are
Um
bigger than others as well. So you
yeah.
have weird sizes of Transformers.
Yeah, it's odd. I'll have to look at the original toys at some point just to get a sense for them, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's this sort of like, yeah, this was relatively common back then of just like, hey, we're gonna, this other company from around the world has this other thing, we're just gonna kind of take it and make it our own.
yeah,
Takara
like
had released some of these in the US already, but wasn't very successful.
mhm. Yeah.
So
I
when
mean,
Hasbro came
Power
along.
Rangers is like the best other example of this exact thing, where they just took the show, the Japanese show, and then just redid some scenes with American actors wearing some costumes, and there you go, Power Rangers. And they did
Well,
that
yeah.
for like a long time until they started filming themselves, I think.
Well, yeah, speaking of shows, Hasbro had previously worked with Marvel Comics, Marvel Entertainment, I believe, the
Um.
group, the bigger group. It's the same company.
Oh, right.
Um,
Sorry. The comics. I thought. Yeah. So
yes.
there's Marvel Comics, and then there's Marvel. Uh, there's Mappa. which is an animation studio that's called
Yeah.
Marvel as well. So it gets confusing.
But no, this is the same company as the comics company that Hasbro
Right.
had actually
Yes.
worked with to develop the GI Joe franchise, different
Hmm.
comics, and I think that's mainly the TV show that they worked on. But they once again teamed up to create comics, a TV show, and eventually a movie, being The Transformers the movie from 1986. It was released August 8th, 1986. Directed by Nelson Shin, who's a South Korean animation director, worked on like the animated Pink Panther cartoons,
Hmm.
some of the Land Before Time sequels, and The Simpsons the movie. Also, this is according to Wikipedia, but he apparently helped animate the lightsabers in Star Wars, the original Star Wars. So someone who's been has a lot of experience in animation.
Sure.
The
Yeah.
studios behind this are actually Dino De Laurentiis's production studio. Dino De Laurentiis was a Hollywood super producer who was very active in the 80s. Let me look up what exactly he worked on, because he worked on a lot
Conan
of
the
stuff.
Barbarian is one of them, I think.
Yeah.
I know because
um
I just watched those films.
oh, cool. Any good?
Uh, if you like Arnold Schwarzenegger, sure.
So yeah, stuff like Evil Dead 2, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, that kind of like iconic 80s and 90s stuff.
I think he's involved with the Transformers one that's coming out soon.
Okay, that would make sense. He's passed away, but his company might be.
Oh, well, I
Or
guess that makes yeah, okay.
yeah. And then yeah, Marvel Entertainment helped develop a lot of the story here, and then the animation was done by Toei Animation, the Japanese studio.
Hmm.
So technically, this is both an anime movie and a Marvel movie.
Well, mm, I don't know about the Marvel Comics thing, but yeah,
It's the same company.
sure.
It is. I looked that up specifically. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Marvel Productions, which is owned by Marvel. Oh, let me double check this before I say something.
No, Marvel Productions is not Marvel. It's a different company under the same name.
I believe it's Marvel. Let me look this up.
I don't know.
Subsidiary of the Marvel Entertainment Group, which includes Marvel Comics and Marvel Productions.
Whatever. Okay.
Incorporated to December 1986.
All right.
So yeah, that's why all of the Transformers comics are published by Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, anyway, Marvel movie and anime movie, weirdly. Yeah, it's written by Ron Friedman, who was a TV writer who worked on Bewitched and Gilligan's Island, and was actually the creator of the G.I. Joe TV show, animated show, and worked on the Transformers show as well. So there
Yes.
is creative crossover between the show to the movie. Um, and Marvel Entertainment had done the show with Toei doing the animation. So it is.
Yeah, you should hope so that there's
Well,
a writer from the
sometimes
show
they
being
like,
part of the film.
yeah, sometimes they hand it off to like a new company for when they do the. But yeah, we have art direction by Pete Sikoto, who I couldn't find any information on IMDb about any of his other credits, but we do have background design by Takao Sawada, who also worked on the Digimon movie and several Dot Hack Sign games,
Okay.
along with other anime. He worked on like a space battleship Yamato movie that actually looks really good. It came out the year before this, but maybe even looks a little bit better than Transformers the movie. Um, and then we have music by Vince DiCola, who was the composer for Rocky 4 and also features a bunch of songs from various rock and metal bands.
Yeah.
You got the touch.
Sometimes multiple times
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, hopeful music while all your characters are getting slaughtered. We'll get to that.
Optimus Prime is dying.
You got the touch.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
So yeah, on release, this movie was actually a bit of a box office disappointment. There were very negative critical reviews at the time, and then also a lot of concerns about the dark story and character deaths. There are a lot of stories, and whenever there are stories about people like screaming and crying and running out of the theaters, you take them with a bit of a grain of salt. But I can definitely see
I
how,
mean,
especially Optimus Prime's death.
it's also just like you're a kid. You've watched this cartoon for the past couple years, and
Yeah,
finally we're getting a film. And in the first 20 minutes, half of the characters from that TV show are killed off
yeah,
in horrific fashion, mind you.
yes, yeah. No, I can see. I don't know if I fully believe the story of the kid who locked himself in his room for 2 weeks. Like that seems like maybe there was more going on than just the
Two
movie.
weeks is a bit
But
much. That's probably more of like an exaggeration of his feelings.
yeah,
Like maybe he would stay in his closet, but would go out to like eat and go to school or something. I don't know. I don't know.
or it could just be I don't know. Anytime, because like this will happen every once in a while. Of I'm trying to think what the most recent one was, to have like this big response of like people were throwing up in the theaters and running out and everyone was demanding refunds. Like it happens every once in a
Mm,
while. I think The
sure.
Exorcist is a famous one, Alien famously. It's like a lot of that is marketing. I don't know that this was entirely marketing though, because the movie traumatized your kids is less good marketing for a kids movie than it is for like a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, this one was more of like Hasbro not understanding that kids were attached to robots
Yeah,
as like things. Because before, I guess, yeah, before this time, and before really Star Wars, is that robots, you didn't think of them as having humanized characteristics. They were just like, they're
yeah.
just a robot. They die, that's fine. Star Wars and Transformers comes out, you think of them as people yourselves, and then, oh, well,
I
because they're not people, you can technically kill them in awful ways legally for
yeah.
TV. But that led to their mandates. Like, oh yeah, they're not gonna care if we kill them off so we can make room for these new characters.
I wonder if I'm not super familiar with cartoons before the 80s enough to say this with any certainty, but I wonder if this is part of what leads to the sort of focus on kids media and its effect on kids.
It's
Because I think
possible.
before this it was a little bit more laissez-faire when it came to like, oh yeah, they're fine, they're kids, just throw on whatever. Whereas now it's very different of like, this would never be released as is and marketed at kids today. Maybe slightly older kids, but not,
Maybe.
because like I guess like Coraline is relatively disturbing, but that
Sure. Yeah.
is marketed at like older kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see. I'm wondering if the Transformers one movie, what direction that's going to go in,
I
given
mean, have
this.
you seen any trailers?
I have. I'm still curious because the shadow of this one looms so large.
Okay.
But yeah, we should probably explain what the plot is before we get too far into this.
Yes, the plot. So, the film takes place after the second season of the show. There are 4 seasons, so this takes place like while the show is airing. So, but it takes place 20 years after the second season of the show. So the show was originally in the 80s, and now this film takes
Yeah.
place in 2005. So our heroic Autobots are making great gains against their opponents, the Decepticons, and the Decepticons are controlling the planet Cybertron, but the Autobots are closing in. They're getting ready for their final attack. But Megatron, leader of the Decepticons, decide to launch an attack on Autobot City, located on Earth. The battle leaves him heavily wounded, though he succeeds in killing Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. But before he dies, Optimus passes the matrix of leadership onto his successor, Ultra Magnus. And mortally wounded and floating through space, Megatron encounters Unicron, a planet sized being who gives him a new body in exchange for his service. And so Unicron is worried that the Autobots will use the Matrix of Leadership to destroy him. And Megatron gets renamed as Galvatron and a new actor to play him. And he launches another assault on Autobot City and steals the Matrix. The Autobots escape but get stranded on various planets around various planets in various planets. Yeah, in general. And so Unicron sets his sight on Cybertron. So the Autobots team up with other groups that they find and try to stop him. And Galvatron tries to use the Matrix to destroy Unicron, but Unicron eats him or something. Yes, which spoilers, doesn't kill him because he's in the show later on. But inside
because he's inside.
Yeah, but he's not inside in the show. Inside Unicron, the Autobot Hot Rod finds Galvatron and takes the Matrix from him. And the Hot Rod uses it to destroy Unicron and finally becoming Rodimus Prime, the new leader of the of the Autobots in the process. That'd be a twist. Using the chaos, the Autobots retake control of Cybertron, and I guess they win their war or something.
Yeah, it's a lot of names. After Bionicle, I was like, okay, finally we're done with like weird names.
No,
we can take a little bit of a break. Then Transformers comes in. It's like all of these names, and they're all so dumb. And like,
yeah,
I have to remember who's who.
Yeah, you do. It's also like if you're watching this show, it's even worse because you have even more characters than before. I don't know why they decided to take this 20 years into the future from the show. It's a choice. It's like, oh, in the show there were only a handful of Autobots. Now they have a whole city. Okay, that's something. Cool, I guess. Whatever.
Now, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it for the benefit of the podcasting audiences. Have you ever had someone show you a movie that is like, they tell you this is very important to me and like, I really love this film. And then you sit down and watch it and you're just kind of like, it's fine. I can, and like, you can understand why it is important to the person, but you're also like, this is just not a good movie.
I mean, I've had that happen to me a few times, for sure.
Yep.
And anytime,
I know, because I think I've been the source of several of those.
No,
times.
It wasn't you. It was someone else. I guess also you, but mostly someone else.
I was thinking of like Manchester by the Sea.
I'm that to you when you brought all your friends together to watch that film and The Lobster for a double feature.
Yes. In hindsight, not my greatest achievement as a curator of movie watching.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
But yeah, that was my experience. Because okay, I was reading through reviews of this movie because it's interesting. This was, upon release, not well received, and then the people who watched it as kids grew up and had the complete opposite response of being like, no, this is actually a really good movie.
I think when they say that, they mean the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of nostalgia. Because, like, okay, one of my favorite movies from like the initial critical response is, this is from Jack Zink of, let me double check which publication this is, of the South Florida Sun Sentinel, who says that Dino De Laurentiis has seen the future and it is spare parts. It's like, yeah, that does kind of, this feels like a movie of spare parts. But then you get later reception, so like, this is from Den of Geek. Let me see who the writer is. Oh, why does this not tell me who the writer is? From Ryan Lambie, who, well, first he calls it the Great Toy Massacre of 1986, which I think is kind of funny. Um, but then remembers it as a story about death, transfiguration, guilt, and redemption.
Mm.
It's like, I can see what
Redemption,
scenes
maybe.
he
Yeah.
was getting these things from. I don't think that's what the movie is about. Like, yes, there are scenes where death happens. Yes, there are scenes where people are transfigured. Yes, there is a scene where someone feels guilty, and later a scene where that person who felt guilty gets redemption, but I don't entirely know if he still feels guilty in that scene.
Yeah, to me, I think, and probably the intention of Hasbro is like, this is a film that got kids interested into the new wave of heroes, of
Yeah.
characters. So you have fresh new Autobots, you have Rodimus and Ultra Magnus and RC, and we have a girl this time. Oh,
Yeah.
then you got
Wow.
fresh new, somewhat fresh new Decepticons, and just Galvatron and his lookalikes that you forget their names because they all look alike.
Do they even really show up? I guess they attack the city.
Yeah, but they're in the show a whole lot afterwards.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
assume they're in the show. In the movie, they're
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So now there's this kid who's the son of the human protagonist who was like in his early 20s in the show before. Now he's a grown man and he has a kid. Okay.
oh, that's a. I was assuming he was a kid in the original show. Like, the dad was, Spike was a kid in the original show.
He was like in he's like late teens, early 20s. Like he was not a high
That
schooler.
sounds so much less insufferable than the kid in this movie is.
Oh, no, he doesn't do anything. He just rides around with Bumblebee. And it's like, oh wow, the Decepticons must be doing something. They spy a lot, really. They spy a lot and turn switches. Humans,
uh,
sometimes you have your token wheelchair character, which is funny in the show. Whenever the Decepticons like have to dismantle him, they just do it in weird ways. I don't know.
oh boy.
It's interesting for sure, but it's really weird. Honestly, it's really weird for the 20 years later, just to see all the differences, and then have this thing continue onto the show afterwards. Imagine not watching this film, and you go in between seasons, and now everything's changed. It's like, wait, where's Optimus? Where's all the other characters? What? Who are these bozos?
uh, yeah, it is interesting the way Hasbro's strategy is affecting the storytelling here, where they're like, we want all of these characters dead so we can bring in the new line. No toy company has ever said that before or will ever say that again. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of wild, but also, like, I don't know. This is further down in the notes, but I'll just start it here. It's like, for how much death is in this movie, it doesn't feel like a dark movie.
no.
Like, the Rotten Tomatoes review summary calls it a surprisingly dark, emotional, and almost excessively cynical experience for Transformers fans. I don't think it's dark. I don't think it's very cynical, except in like a, this is a movie to sell toys way.
It's pretty much just like an average episode of the show, but people actually die in this one.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack has a lot to do with it because it'll be like something horrible, traumatizing happens, and then suddenly,
You got the touch.
Or they're playing that song while the thing is happening.
yeah, it's just like, okay, I can understand why, as a kid, this would have left such a mark on people.
Hmm.
That doesn't make this The Lion King or Bambi,
Right.
which are like thematically and tonally consistent works that have something to say that is not buy our new toys. I mean, Lion King is somewhat buy our new toys, but it also
Oh,
has a story that it is telling and
yeah.
a
I
character
mean,
arc
this
it is
one is like
developing.
just mindless. It's like, oh, the characters die. We don't have time to even think about or just realize who died some of the times.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was a lot of them were named characters. I just thought a lot of them were extras based on how quickly they were dispatched.
Right. It's like, yeah. So I think half the people who watch this or have no idea who these characters are and just, oh, okay, it's just like cannon fodder. But
Yeah,
like for people like me who's watched the show and watched the film, it's like, oh no, not this guy, not this guy. Oh no. Now it's even more sadder because like, oh, I've known these characters for a bit now. Oh, they're dead
yeah.
now.
I think I think the one death that worked well, okay. I like the brutal deaths overall just as like a me enjoying things side
Sure.
of things
Yeah,
of like
they were cool. They were
yeah.
fun, interesting in a way.
But yeah, I think the only one that like stuck with me was Optimus Prime because that's the only one that's given any amount of focus.
That's the one thing people remember about this film is Optimus Prime dies in this one.
Yeah.
Um, and this is just the first 20 minutes of the film, and you still have an hour left, and it's not as interesting in the next hour.
No, yeah. It's yeah, it didn't work for me. Again, it's like you think of the totemic movies of like movies where kids got introduced to the concept of death. It's like, oh yeah, Bambi, Bambi's mom. And you watch Bambi and it's like, okay, yeah, the mom dying is a very harrowing scene, but the movie kind of moves on very quickly from that point. But it's like this artistic expression of like, let's make a movie that's just about some deer, and then it's a movie just about some deer. And then you go like Lion King. Oh, this is this big epic Shakespearean story with like interesting character arcs and stuff going on. That's like, oh yeah, Transformers the movie. It's a toy commercial where some characters die, and that's the most interesting thing that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Besides, oh, I keep trying to call him Omicron, the COVID
Unicron.
variant, Unicron. Uh, he's like, I love the concept of the planet that eats other planets, which shows up in stuff. Um, there's a great comic by Junji Ito called Ramina that's about a planet that comes to eat Earth, and it's very horrific and lots of fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this one takes it more in like a mechanical one. Ramina is more like biological. Um, but yeah, I just like the like scale of it is very interesting to me. Of like, here's a giant thing that is very inhuman, which we'll talk about when he turns into a robot later. But yeah, that's such an interesting concept of like, here's the villain. It's just like a planet that is going to eat everything. And then yeah, we have the first
Yes.
20 minutes, which is like they go from the destruction of this world as it gets consumed by this planet, and then it's like battle scene. Boom, right away. Optimus Prime is dead. We're going. We're
And then everybody gets
gas.
split up into different planets, and that's the
Yeah,
next hour of
yeah,
slow down them being on different planets with I'll talk about the new characters that they introduce later on, but it's hard to really get invested when I have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah, the hot rod stuff, I actually kind of like that they're on this like weird watery planet, and then there's like this tribunal that's one thing with like a rotating face, and it's like declaring innocent or guilty, but the punishment is the same. Like that's kind of interesting. When it's like, here's the Dinobots, and they're just kind of walking around, and then they meet someone who talks weird, and then the other Autobots are on a junk planet, and they meet people who talk weird, and then they get a spaceship somehow. Don't ask me how. I wasn't paid that close attention. And then they go and fight Omicron because that's
And
what they
then
need to do.
they have a dance party with Weird Al music playing in
Yeah,
the background.
the worst Weird Al song. Like I don't like that Weird Al song, and it's also like not a good song for the moment.
That's an explanation of like all the music in this film. Like by itself, you could probably enjoy it,
There's
but they're not good in the moment.
yeah. The one song that worked for me was, it was one of the attacks on Autobot City, and it was a bit heavier.
Right.
Um but yeah, besides that, it's like, oh no, Optimus Prime is about to die.
You got the touch.
It's ridiculous how many times they play that song.
Yes. Yeah. Like the only time I think the song worked was in the end when Rodimus gets the Matrix and starts to kill Unicron.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
that
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 is more.
fits. But like in the beginning of the film where they're just driving and then we have a massacre.
You got the touch.
Ah, my leg. So, a weird lore thing about those rotating face people.
Yeah.
You cannot tell anything about this while watching the film, but what they decided to do in the show is like, oh, those rotating face people actually created the Transformers people in Cybertron. They're the third bad guy
No.
in the show.
They're the engineers from Alien.
But then anciently, they were like they were tyrannical leaders, and then the robots rebelled, and then they were kicked off, and so this entire show they're like, we want to take over these people again.
So it is the engineers from Prometheus.
It is, yes. Ooh.
Did you see the Alien trailer in front of Deadpool and Wolverine?
Oh, well, that's a different thing. But so what happened was, I went to the theater, and I
Yeah.
went into the wrong auditorium.
Oh.
And that which wasn't gonna be playing for like another hour. So I sat there for like 30 minutes. And I'm like, man, there's nothing playing on the screen. What's going on? And so then, just to make sure, I walk out to see, just to make sure I'm in the right theater. And I'm like, oh wait, I'm in the wrong theater. So I just go in just in time while it's the beginning monologue with the corpse.
Okay.
So
yeah.
yeah.
So you didn't see the trailer. Okay.
No, I didn't see any trailers. Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
You may not want to watch it if you haven't seen it, because it maybe shows too much. But that
I
was
know.
just
I think I've seen a trailer that shows too much, but
okay.
we'll get into like differences once we watch that film and cover
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
it should be fine.
We're covering that one.
Huh? We are?
Wait,
Yeah,
what,
we are.
What? We're covering Alien?
Oh, no. Sorry. No, never mind.
I mean, I'm down. I'm just, this is news to me.
We're covering Transformers 1 when that comes out. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you were on the other trailer. I was talking about a different trailer, which I can
Okay.
understand why you were confused, because I was talking about Prometheus, because I don't want to talk about Transformers the movie. I don't mind talking about Transformers the movie. It's not interesting enough.
Yeah, like I was kind of getting bored after the first 45
Yeah.
minutes, because like I have to get used to these new characters. It's
Mhm.
just that this wasn't the way to do it, I don't think. unfortunately.
Yeah. I gave the story a 2 out of 5. I liked the first 20 minutes, and then after that it really pumped the brakes and I was like, okay.
I'm giving it a generous 3, but it's because I already rated the rest of the Bay films. I have to
Oh yeah,
adjust
cuz you
for
you
that.
did a rewatch
I've
in
already watched all the
anticipation.
films. You need to watch the rest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being a high point in terms of story. Um, yeah,
yeah,
characters. There's too many characters. I don't know who
too
any of
many
these people are.
characters.
Optimus
Yeah,
Prime, his death scene does really work. Um, I think it lends the movie a weight that it doesn't do anything with.
right. It's like he's everybody's favorite character in Transformers in general.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, he's pretty much the protagonist of the show because he's in every episode
yeah.
essentially, and so it's just
It's like throughout the movie, they should be calling back to him. And when like Hot Rod does his thing at the end, he should be like, I'm doing this for Optimus. Like, really lean into that.
yeah. I think like they maybe say that once or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't have any weight, and part of that is because none of the characters have any interior life except for one character who we will talk about. But yeah. It's like once he dies and once Megatron becomes Galvatron, the movie gets noticeably less engaging.
Yeah, it almost feels like the film was thought of in like different 20-minute segments, like a TV show would
Yeah.
be.
I wonder if it was, I guess, because they were planning on this movie for a while, but it does in some ways feel like 3 to 4 episodes of a TV show.
Yeah, and like it pretty much is. It's like, oh, it's pretty much just like a handful of episodes in the show. It's like, ah, it's like a 3 or 4 parter episode
Yeah.
where they each do a different thing in each episode. That's kind of what it feels like
It's
here.
like
It's like,
it's like those Clone Wars arcs where the like
well,
the
it's the Clone
first
Wars movie
episode,
in general, which is a handful of episodes
but
that they had to turn
specifically
into a film.
it's like the Clone Wars arcs where it's like the first one or two is kind of interesting, and then there's the middle ones which are really boring, and then there's the last one which is like kind of interesting again.
Depending on which arc you're talking about, but
With like
yes.
the droids on the planet where there's
Oh
nothing.
yes, oh yes.
And it's like
That's the best
nothing happens
example.
for
That's the best
3
example.
episodes. That's what this movie is. It's like it starts out well, then nothing happens for 3 episodes, and then the ending happens.
Yep, yep,
uh Hot Rod, he's kind of the protagonist. I say
kind
kind
of.
of because he's supposed to be the protagonist, but he has no internal journey that I can discern.
Yeah,
Here's where when I talked about the review that was talking about guilt and redemption,
yeah. He
I can
gets
understand
skilled in a way, and that
kind of,
should be the
and he
leading
feels
guilt.
guilty for it for a scene, and then we never get a sense that that guilt is like something he is still thinking about, and then at the end he becomes Rodimus Prime, the worst name ever. That that's a gay porn star name. Like I know all of these Transformers names are kind of that, but that one especially. Um
I mean,
actually no, that's not
Spike's
that's
Spike's dad. His name is Sparkplug.
oh boy.
I don't. I like that's what they call him in the show. I hope that's a nickname. Like
Yeah.
I don't. I hope that. I mean, Spike is a weird name in general. But Sparkplug is a.
Yeah. I guess Hot Rod isn't any less of a gay porn star name than Rodimus Prime, but Rodimus Prime just sounds so much worse. But anyway, he has like no internal journey. He's just like he feels guilty for one scene, and then at the end of the movie he becomes Rodimus Prime.
That's pretty much a lot of just the 80s cartoons where you have one scene of something and then we just do normal stuff for a bit.
Yeah. It's I want a little more meat there cuz his arc is very paint by numbers even if they were to follow it through, but at least there
Mm-hmm.
would be something emotional to latch on to. The way it is, he's just like I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised that Hasbro didn't think anyone would have any emotional connection to these characters, considering that they didn't, at least in this movie, give any of the characters any internal emotions. Like, it's just, oh, Optimus Prime is dead. We're sad for this scene, and then time to.
You got the
You got the
touch.
touch. Yeah. I mean, it's probably a thing where it's like, oh, they'll flesh them out in the show. But it's
Yeah.
like, the show has no continuity, really. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. It's like, any, like, strong emotional thing one character has one episode is created for that episode and then forgotten ever. That's, like, 80s cartoon in general. They only have a struggle in one episode. They never struggled with it before. They're never going to struggle with it again. It's just for one episode they have that struggle, and then they're done. And it's good in that one episode, but then it's like, okay.
Does Blur ever kick the cocaine habit?
No, unfortunately.
Anyway, on to Daniel. Why are they taking this kid with them? I can understand why the city's under attack again. We need to get out of the city. Bring the kid.
They
Why
took
is
him
he
to
involved?
Unicron. Yeah.
Why? Yeah, why?
I don't know.
What are you
I don't know
doing?
why are random humans hanging out with the Transformers during military operations? I don't know. They just are. They could just waltz into their base. It's like, hey, what's up, Spike? Hey, how you doing, Daniel? Hey, you want to watch us battle the Decepticons?
Want to join us? Hi, small child. Here's a mech suit. I guess that is very anime.
I don't know where those mech suit came from. They were never in the show. We never see them again.
uh, Daniel. Then we have Ultra Magnus, who I'm pretty convinced that he is supposed to be bland because he's not supposed to. We're not supposed to care about him.
Yeah, because we're supposed to care about Rodimus, Hot Rod,
Yeah,
because he's the new leader, and Ultra Magnus would just be bland as a leader. Like, there's nothing different in the show as well. He's just there. He's blue.
Yeah,
He's a big truck, like Optimus was.
no, he's the exact same color as Optimus. If he had walked on screen and someone had said, Optimus Prime, I would have been like, that makes sense. He looks like Optimus Prime. I know nothing about these characters. But no, apparently it's someone different.
Yeah.
Part of what is difficult about having this many characters is that they all look the exact same. Like not entirely. But
Some
like
of them do, yes.
you asked me to distinguish what was special about the green one, and I have absolutely no idea.
I
I
guess
know
he had a
that there was a
relationship
green
with
one.
the girl one. That's what I know.
Speaking of the girl one, RC, they forgot to give her any character traits beyond she's the girl one.
Yeah, she's the first real girl one in the show as well. Which I
Yeah,
guess
that doesn't
changes up the
surprise me just
dynamic.
because she's not a character. She's there.
Yeah.
And that's true of a lot of characters here. They aren't really characters, they're just kind of existing. Weirdly, Grimlock is like top 3 most defined characters in this movie.
Yeah.
in terms of like
Grimlock.
having a personality.
I mean, Grimlock didn't have much of a personality in the show before this. He was just like,
Okay.
me Grimlock, strongest Dinobot, me. And then they made him more of an endearing comedic character after this film, which is actually
Yeah.
perfect for him. He's so funny. I love him.
Yeah, I enjoyed like when he's talking with Cup and he's like, "Hey, tell me more war stories." I was like, "Oh,
Me
that's
no
kind of
care about wipers. Tell me
yeah,
part where you kill them.
yeah." I when he's on his own with the other Dinobots and they meet the guy who talks weird, that then I'm a little bit more annoyed with him.
Sure, yeah. Like the whole Dinobots is just a weird thing in general. Because what happens is that one day the Autobots are just go like mining, and I was like, dinosaur bones. These things look really cool. Let's make robots that look like
Wait, they
dinosaurs.
made the Dinobots?
They
I thought the
did.
Dinobots existed separate from.
No, they made the Dinobots, and then it turns out the Dinobots were actually stronger than them, and so
Which we see here, though. I was kind of attributing that to Blur's crippling addiction to cocaine as to why he couldn't get the dinos on the ship. But
it's like, what? Oh, I didn't know you could just make robots. Although to be fair, they don't have much intelligence, so there's your give
yeah,
and take caveat.
they're Frankenstein in that sense, like young
Essentially,
Frankenstein.
yes. There was a
Uh,
constant
we
switching of
also have
allegiance because they weren't that very smart, but yes. All right, let's get to him.
Rekgar.
Hmm.
Who? What? Why? No.
He's the Eric Idle character, right?
He is the Eric Idle character, and he speaks entirely in TV slogans, and
Yeah,
it's
TV
not
infomercial
funny.
language, but it's this is a note really for like the audio, but essentially you have you have Eric Idle who
Yeah.
talks in Eric Idle way, which is one way. But then you have him just do TV infomercial way, which is hard to really discern. Then you give him heavy vocal modulation to the point where I
Yeah.
have no idea what he's saying half the time.
No.
I can
I
discern maybe one or two words. It
yeah.
took me a couple times rewatching the scene to find out, like, oh, they're speaking TV infomercial. Oh, okay. That's really weird.
Yeah.
All I can hear
I
is
didn't
Eric Idle, and that's it.
I didn't realize until they like specifically pointed out. I was like, because he has the like thin mustache and the long goatee, I was like, "Oh, are they doing like a very racist caricature?" And it's like, "No, they're speaking in TV infomercial." I thought they were doing like 80s Chinese character type thing, and I was like, "Oh no, are we going to have to
Yes.
deal with this?" It's like, "No,
I mean, we
he's
did
just
deal in that in the show whenever
weird."
they go to China and such, but
Oh boy.
not in this
I
film.
can
Uh,
imagine.
but yeah, like he's part of the problem. Eric Idle, part of the problem. Then you have the other character, Wheelie, who is the smaller one that they meet on a different planet, that
Yeah.
only speaks in rhymes, has a high pitched voice, and heavy vocal modulation. So I have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah, and he's
Then
with the
Blur,
Dinobots.
I think I don't know if it's a he or she. It's hard to tell.
Okay.
Like that's a
Uh,
problem. I don't know. Blur just speaks way too fast. I don't know what he's saying half the time. But at least they did not give him heavy vocal modulation. That would
yeah.
have just.
Yeah.
I have no idea why they just decided to give characters vocal modulation here on out. Because before they were fine. Soundwave, like he was before vocal modulate, but like I don't know why. you give the hardest speaking people who don't speak plain English vocal modulation.
Well, yeah, on to the villains. We have Megatron/Galvatron, who's probably the most interesting character, if only by virtue of the fact that he is the only character in this entire movie that has an interior life. He
Right.
he has this internal conflict because at the start of the movie he's essentially at his like peak. He is ruler of Cybertron. He is attacking the Autobots, but then he gets like mortally wounded by Optimus Prime and kicked out of the airlock by, oh, why am I forgetting his name?
Starscream.
Starscream, yes.
Yeah.
Who then takes control. And the coronation scene and then Galvatron coming in and like stepping on him is just like that's cool. I guess he turns into like a weird seal looking gun and shoots him and then steps on the crown. But anyway, yeah, he gets picked up by Unicron and turned into Galvatron and has like this, he still has that Megatron part of his mind, but then Unicron can like control his mind.
But
So
this
he's like
time
a
he's
really,
voiced by Leonard Nimoy.
yeah, which is fun. And it just like is such an interesting idea for like the villain who is both trying to, yeah, it's like he isn't teaming up with the heroes, but he doesn't want to be fighting the heroes as much as he wants to be fighting Unicron, but he can't fight Unicron. So it's like he's in this very odd
It's like
position.
he just always wants to be in control,
Yeah.
essentially. Because
I
all he
do,
knows is being in control of everything.
yeah. So yeah, it leads to like, again, he's the only character here who has any kind of internal conflict. Um which in this movie makes him the most interesting character just kind of by default.
Sure. Yes.
I do
Especially
wish we
since
had,
he's the one who killed Optimus Prime. It's like,
yeah.
what happens next?
Yeah. I do wish he had teamed up with the Autobots at some point just for like a scene.
Well,
But yeah.
he's teamed up with him a whole bunch.
Oh, okay. So
Every
that
time
wouldn't
it's
have
like,
been a
oh
new
wait,
thing.
the plan I have will destroy everything. Oh, I guess we gotta team up.
Okay. That makes more sense that they
Yes.
didn't do it. Yeah, Starscream, he's a good treacherous sidekick. I like how
It's
brutal his death was.
it's really the culmination of his entire character arc in the show. Like he's always backstabbing Megatron to try to become the new leader, and always just failing. And he finally becomes leader, and then gets killed off immediately in a fun way. After this point, though, he
Yeah.
becomes a ghost, and apparently cannot die
Oh.
because he has an immortal
Oh.
soul.
Interesting.
Mm. So he just
Oh,
messes with
like the
Galvatron.
Little Mermaid wants.
All right,
Then
Unicron,
Unicron. He's a
Galactus,
giant
I mean.
planet that eats planets. What more do you want? He's just like nom nom nom. The chomping noises when they first introduce him, you're like, this giant planet is like consuming this other planet, and then you just get nyam 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 sound effects. Like that is the goofiest thing in the first 20 minutes. But no, he's a villain. He's there. I found him pretty effective until he turns into a giant robot. Like he's so much less intimidating as a giant robot than he is as like a planet.
Sure, he's still really big in
He
comparison
is.
to
But
everyone
then he's
else.
just
But
like a big robot.
yeah,
And like,
like we already have big robots. Like there's like they have a
yeah.
whole city that is a big robot for some reason.
Yeah. It, and you can make big robots intimidating, but this one isn't.
I mean,
Like you
this
have
one's
to
the
be
only
very
one who
intentional
wants
about
to
it.
destroy a planet,
Yeah.
so that can be scary. But
I mean, I'm thinking of like compare him to like Arishem in the Eternals movie,
Mhm.
where it's just like, oh, he just like materializes and like is in the sky, and you like look up and there's this giant robot face staring down at you. Whereas this one, he's just like he's there. He knocks some stuff over. He's so much less destructive as a giant robot than he is as a planet. As a planet, he just like decimates the planet in 2 seconds. As a giant robot, he's just like stomping around. I know
Yeah,
this is Transformers, but he didn't have to transform.
yeah. I mean, they just keep finding wild ways to make things transform. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you got a city, transform. Oh, you got a planet, transform.
Which the city transforming like it kind of did, but it didn't. I was
Well,
expecting it
there's
to
there's
turn into a
another
vehicle.
there's another city that transforms into a giant
Okay.
robot
Okay.
in the show. Um, for
I
some
thought when
reason.
they're like, we're transforming Autobot City, I'm like, oh, is it going to be like a spaceship to blast off or
Nah,
something?
it's
And it's like,
just like a
no,
fort
it's
or
just
something.
the city slightly changed. And you don't even get a good look at the city before then. Like you see it off in the distance briefly.
I mean, it's also weird because this is the first time we're seeing the city. Because before the Autobots just lived in the cave. Now they now they have a whole city on Earth that they can declare as a city. Okay, I guess. How did that happen? Where did these robots come from? I don't know.
uh, yeah, I gave the characters a 2 out of 5. I was not invested in any of them except for Galvatron, who was kind of fun.
Hmm, yes, I gave it a 3 as well.
I guess Unicron was fun as well until he turned into a robot. Anyway, visuals. Speaking of turning into robots,
Visuals, yes.
yeah, this is that era of animation where stuff just looks good by default because it's being hand
Well,
drawn.
it's hand drawn, but also just the extra layer of detail they have to add to a
Yeah.
film. So yeah, you have even more shadowing effects, and it just all looks really good.
Yeah, the detail is really good. I love the backgrounds. Like this is the kind of like sci-fi stuff that I'm very like interested in of like, oh, this is just kind of weird, like spacey visuals and like cyber stuff. And it reminded me at times of like Akira. Um yeah,
Yeah,
it's very, very interesting visuals. Reminded me also a bit of Barbie and the Rockers, which came out a year after this and which we have
yeah,
covered. I think my big complaint is that the character designs get a little lost. I think that's just like the Transformers themselves are so visually busy. And then you add on top of that like very intricate backgrounds. And it's kind of hard to keep track of what you're supposed to be watching.
sure.
So, yeah, I don't know. I like the detail. I think the detail also. It's like when you play a video game and the graphics are so good that it becomes difficult to track your character movement because it's like you can't see or like you can't find stuff in the world
Right. Yeah.
because it's so busy that you're looking for the visual cues you usually rely on are less apparent. So yeah, that was mainly my main thing. This is also like relatively cheaply done. Um, this is this wave of like, especially in the 80s, of outsourcing animation to Japan, which leads to some really interesting things. I really like the Last Unicorn, which was
Mm.
also something that was outsourced to a Japanese company for animation, and looks very like Ghibli-esque at times, which it actually has a lot of the Ghibli animators worked on it
Mhm.
before they worked for Ghibli. So that's kind of cool. Here I didn't see a ton of crossover with other stuff that I'm aware of. Um, but yeah, this comparing it to other things that came out at around this time, this is a slightly lower quality overall.
Well, compared to the show, not so much.
Yeah,
There's money in this, that's for sure.
yeah. Compared to other
So
theatrical
like,
movies, is what I meant.
yeah, theatrical release, yes, I'd say probably lower, but for like TV, this is fantastic. This
Yeah,
it's Yeah, that's why for me, I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 4.5. I love this style. Like I said in the Barbie and the Rockers episodes, this is just I enjoy watching the visuals.
I like the visuals for this, not so much when it comes to humans. Then it becomes a little bit
Yeah.
janky.
I think in Barbie and the Rockers they look good. But yeah, anyway,
I
on to the performances. We have a lot of people here.
A lot of people. I mean, the big ones are like Orson Welles as
Yeah.
Unicron.
Which I've heard criticisms of his performance. This was his last major performance. And it's a vocal performance, and he passed away before the film came out. And this was one of his last performances that he gave. I think there's other ones that come out after this potentially, but that were filmed like made before this.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
because his career is kind of weird in that like his most recent movie came out in 2018 and he died in the 80s. Um, but yeah, I thought his performance was pretty good.
He's just a deep voice, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
which is all you
that
really need.
that's really all you need. You got Leonard Nimoy, who just has a really distinct voice that
Yeah,
just is good and menacing when he wants to. Unfortunately, though, does not translate to the show when they brought the character into the show, who
okay.
sounds more like Starscream with a higher pitched voice than actual
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Nimoy character,
Oh
which is just not fun at all.
yeah, yeah. We also have Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime. I thought he has a lot of gravitas in his voice.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have a ton to say about performances overall.
Yeah. I mean, they're good, solid across the
Yeah,
board. Eric Idle is
the,
also here. Doesn't
yeah,
really need to.
yeah. If you're gonna have Eric Idle, I feel like you give him something more interesting to do than play that character.
And also, it's like, oh, why do you need to have modulation over Eric Idle?
Yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
waste of a
That's my
voice,
thing
really.
overall with the voices is, yeah, yeah. I gave the performances a 4 out of 5.
I give it a 3.5.
Oh yeah,
All right.
finally on to sound.
You got the touch.
Yeah, music. I think if you listen to the music by itself, it's like it's all really rad music, but in the actual film itself, it's just too much. Like even just the regular soundtrack is too much. It's just doesn't clash with a
Yeah,
lot of scenes. It's way too loud. Doesn't match anything you'll ever hear in the show. It's just tonally not right. It was so distracting the entire time where it's like, I don't feel like this is right.
yeah. Yeah, and then you talked a bit about the vocal modulation. I know you have more to say there.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much said my piece, but it's like
Oh, okay.
they chose to give vocal modulations to the wrong characters, essentially, which is a
Yeah.
shame.
Personally, like beyond the characters you mentioned, I think the modulation did work for me. Um
Mm.
yeah, it's only really for the characters that it makes it impossible to hear their lines.
Yeah,
That
for
it's
like other
when it's
characters
like,
that have normal speaking lines in English, like it sounds
yeah,
fine. That's its job. But like for the character who only speaks in rhyme or the character who speaks in TV lingo with different voice things already happening with them,
yeah.
it's like, oh, thank goodness they didn't do anything for Blur because that would have.
Well, they did cocaine, but that's
They did
besides the point.
cocaine, but that's not modulation. At least not vocal modulation.
Yeah, performance enhancing modulation.
Yeah.
I give the sound a 3. I mean, at a certain point, you just gotta appreciate.
You got the touch.
Yeah.
Even if it's in the wrong spots.
And because, like, normally I would give it a 3 because it took me out of the film the entire time. I give it a 2.5, unfortunately. Which leaves me with a total score of 17, which is a 68% or a 3.4 5-star rating.
Yep. And I have a final score of 15.5, which is a 62% or a 3.1 on our 5-star scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts on this film before we head
I
on
mean,
out?
so one of the interesting things about reading the critical response, a lot of the critical reevaluation, and I think it's just time wise, but a lot of the critical reevaluation came with the release of the first Michael Bay movie. And so you had a lot of people who were now film critics who grew up with this movie and were watching the Michael Bay movie and being like, this isn't capturing something from our childhood. And then going back and revisiting this one and being like, oh, nostalgia. This is like such a formative movie. So I'm curious, going now into the Michael Bay movies, what my experience is going to be, if I'm going to agree that this is the best Transformers movie, even though I didn't particularly care for it, or if there's going to be something in the Michael Bay movies that works better for me. I think,
Well, we'll get to that
yeah.
when we get to that. There are some things to say about Michael Bay, especially when it comes to some writing. Um, but
Yeah, didn't he not write the first one?
it's not so much him not writing; it's just the time period as well.
Yeah.
You'll see
I've
what I mean.
yeah, I've heard the first one is the best of the Michael Bay ones,
Yeah,
and the second is the worst. But yeah,
uh,
we'll be
it
maybe
was
the
the
fourth.
worst at the time.
Okay.
The fifth one, oh, the fifth one is something. But that's a discussion for another time. But anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Twitter and Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast in Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review. And go join our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. And we'll be back next week to talk about the first Michael Bay Transformers movie. And until then, don't get eaten by a planet. Autobots, roll out!